I feel so embarrassed and think I just killed the relationship. NSFW. This girl, 24F, and I, 27M, have been going on dates for about a month. Things have been proceeding well. There's been chemistry and good times throughout. Last weekend she came over and we ended up making out towards the end of the night. No sex or playing around or anything, just making out. She stayed the night and hung out with me until about noon or so the next day. It was really nice. I really felt like we connected on a much deeper emotional level and that we both had a wonderful time. We've been flirting and sending hearts back and forth pretty heavily since then. The feeling felt mutual. Cut to today. I offered to make her dinner this evening and she accepted and came over. The food ended up pretty terrible honestly, but we had a good laugh about it and things progressed regardless. Things seemed kinda off right away though because she kept checking her phone, like asterisk a lot. I don't really pay much attention to stuff like that, but it seemed kind of obsessive. We ate and moved to the couch where we talked for a bit. Before long we started making out and eventually it evolved into sex in my bedroom. She was wearing some lingerie under her clothes and confessed to changing into it before she came over, which tells me she intended to have sex or at least fool around. Some context. This was the first time I'd been with someone in nearly 2 years and she knew that. We talked about it and she told me to not feel bad if I came quickly, which I did. I asked her if I could help her finish and she said, maybe later, and told me to be quiet and come cuddle, but then she wouldn't. Cuddle? She kind of just pulled up the blanket and made no effort to move towards me. After like 2 minutes of this she abruptly got out of bed and started getting dressed. She told me, usually the guys are the ones who leave quickly, but I'm doing it, or something like that, which seemed really weird. She quickly moved through my apartment, gathering all of her things without really saying anything. I kind of jokingly asked her, if this were an Uber ride, how would you rate it? And she responded by telling me not to ask that question because the answer was never fun. She told me she had a good time and that she found me very attractive, then left. She was gone within like 5 minutes of us having sex. She is a busy person, so I get not wanting to linger or whatever. But I was really hoping we'd be able to connect afterwards and she didn't seem to want any of it. I dunno. I'm just very confused by the entire situation. I feel embarrassed for coming so quick and for not being able to help her finish. I feel like I disappointed her or did something wrong. Just needed to vent. Edit. Thanks for the support and feedback everyone. It's much appreciated. I have seen a few comments about getting her off first and I feel I should clarify the play-by-play a bit more. Before things got real hot and heavy, she told me she wasn't really into cunnilingus. She gave me head when we got going for a bit and I followed by fingering. My plan was to get her off first because I knew I wouldn't be able to last very long, but she told me she wanted me inside her after only a minute or so of fingering. So I obliged and held on for as long as I could. Update. She ghosted me.
Don't worry about being quick or her not finishing. Chances are, nobody ever does either of those things for her anyway. I busted out laughing at the Uber question. She's asked that. There's a chance she's just busy, but her confirming her attraction to you seems like something to be said when she's trying not to make you feel bad.
I think you may have been duped, my friend. 1. She came with the intentions of having maybe to test drive. 2. She was glued to her phone, possibly talking to the next guy. 3. She left right away. Personally, I don't think this is going to end well.
Honestly, text her tomorrow and see if she responds. Just like a casual hey what's up text. Nothing crazy. If she responds, you're prob fine. Use your fingers to make her finish next time if you get the chance. A lot of guys can't make girls reaching through so don't feel bad about it. If she likes you, one time of bad won't matter. But the checking her phone the whole time is a red flag anyways, unless she literally works at all hours from her phone.
The problem is not you coming too quickly, but her attitude. When are people going to learn that the first time with someone or even the second time isn't going to be the best? Most likely. It's difficult with nerves and there is a lot of pressure on the guy. If she is insensitive like this now, she will most likely be insensitive with other situations down the line. She lacks maturity for sure how she handled it.
In future, if you know you're going to quickly, make her first, before you have. I don't know why, but I've definitely seen women not be as into manual after.
I think she had post-nut clarity, but women get it too. She may have thought she liked you etc., but after, for girls don't actually need to get the clarity. She suddenly realized she didn't. I personally think it's as simple as that.
Always first. I feel awkward knowing a guy just came and he isn't aroused when going down on me. It makes it 10x more difficult to get off.
Sounds great up until the very end. That part sounds super awkward. From a girl's perspective, she came over with a plan. The phone doesn't always mean a guy is on the other end. She could have been nervous too, talking to her GFS about whether or not she should commit. Afterwards she may have felt embarrassment or felt like if you have to ask to finish her off, it didn't matter to you if she did or not. It's not a great question to ask. Either you finish her off before you have an quick, or you just jump right onto her and finish her right after with no questions. If that's not possible, then you pull her in close and touch her. Rub her head and play with her hair or massage her body. Just do something. Don't lay there expecting her to come to you afterwards. She may also be experiencing trauma based on how quickly she got up and left afterwards. This may not be anything after this, but it also could be recoverable. Play it cool. Don't over-apologize and just tell her you'd like to make up for it. And then make up for it if she comes back.
I can imagine she felt used.
It's called post-no-nut clarity. When you don't but the guy does and you get the ick so about it, leaves you feeling like a fleshlight and all the fantasy and attraction wears off, leaving you a bit ill and uneasy. It's time we talk about avoid being a victim of post-no-nut clearly. Make sure she finishes first through other means if you can't last.
This is a bit crazy. If I got the ick each time a guy didn't make me, even my boyfriend, because that second margarita I drank at date night apparently killed off my nerve center, I'd be forever single. If it's easy enough for you to have guaranteed even when the technique is right, lucky you. Many women can't. For me, my boyfriend is amazing in bed, but if the stars aren't aligned, it's not happening. He always feels sad and I have to explain to him that there is genuinely nothing more he could have done. I certainly don't get the ick.
Same. It just feels like I'm on a timer, lol. I don't see why Op should make all of the effort here. Her body language wasn't exactly welcoming him to cuddle her, and he probably felt uncomfortable because he didn't want to push it too much. If she has trauma, that's something she herself needs to work on before she puts herself in a triggering situation. It isn't up to Op to deal with her attitude for things going on in her head that are out of his control. He can only go off her body language. He's not a mind reader.
Guys, if you feel the risk of finishing, don't go at it until you've finished, and then verbally suggest to help her get there like it's a. Some people here seem to believe that when he has finished, asking her if she wants him to help her get her is good communication style, as that is asking for consent. Should I, when I have orgasm first, ask him if he wants to keep having until he hasn't?
If the meal is bad, you order some things, don't leave it like that. She was likely still hungry since she hadn't eaten at home because you said you will take care of the dinner. Provide well and keep your word. Help her to before you do and without asking. If she still doesn't feel it, she will tell you to already invited you to cuddle, so take her in your arms and caress her. Don't wait for her to come to already missed a few times that evening and then you want some praise with that Uber joke. No. You already knew you hadn't performed well in more than one situation, so why ask people to rate the evening in front of you, to your face? Also next time, rather invite her to stay overnight after and ask her what is the matter with the phone. Why is she often checking? Text her ASAP after. If there is still a chance, she will respond. If not, you'll have to get a lot better and more attentive next time you meet and invite a woman.
I don't think it's the lack of. It's the lack of attempt. From the sounds of it, it went making out to PIV to him finishing, then asking if he should get her off. At that point I'd be put off. I don't want to be an afterthought.
I don't really understand why it's a bad thing to ask if he should help her finish. To me this speaks of the total opposite. Respect for her and giving her a choice. I'd be way more put off if my partner didn't ask, just chose to go down on me without even asking if I'd like it.
I share this as a guy who gives no matter my state of arousal. I will literally give it 24/7. I like to go down after I came. It lets me just enjoy her and focus on her pleasure 100%. In addition, I find that when I am in my refractory period, my taste and smell senses become more sensitive, and I can taste her much better. I say this because I like to give before, but sometimes my own arousal distracts me. I love, and have given it to my exes without ever going for my form of a surprise. I've had a girl say similar to what you wrote in your comment, but after I told her what I said here, she was much more open to after PIV. But I can completely understand the awkwardness and difficulty getting off.
Always make her first and don't ask about a rating.
Because it's a silly question if you're having with someone and care about their pleasure. He finishes quickly, great for him I guess, but then asks if she wants to get off too. Like yeah, of course she does. At that point, the way he phrased it makes it seem like a chore. He could have said, "Can I go down on you?" Or better yet, "I want to go down on you," making it a point that he wants to please her. He made it sound like she was an afterthought. I always find it odd when men don't attempt to get their female partners to finish first. Every single time, once a guy is already done, he isn't as enthusiastic about your pleasure because he's just not anymore. That's not fun or sexy for the woman. She got dressed up, already planning to please him before coming over, and he couldn't bother to take care of her needs.
Ladies, no, let him get you off, because he'll be ready for round 2 by the time you and that's when the magic happens. And if his face is between your thighs, he's aroused, just not hard. Very different things.
I 100% agree. I don't think it's silly at all. Enthusiasm matters. Seeing someone is passionate about your pleasure even after the fact matters. From the post I didn't really get that feeling. She might have felt it the same too.
I don't see why you'd assume she was offended. She was more likely just turned off by the whole experience. Congrats to you and your fiancé's life. But this is a first-time experience between two people, and it absolutely is a given that she'd want to experience pleasure, lol. Like, what? I don't put on lingerie to go have with someone new to solely give them an and leave unsatisfied. Not a logical comparison to make at all. In my experience, if the guy doesn't enthusiastically care about me getting off the first time we have, they won't care moving forward. I'm not saying the relationship can't be salvaged, but I think it's fair that she left feeling icky and turned off by him.